So we've been working on setting our cans and other light fixture receptacles, and William and our friend Matthew has been nice enough to help us. They've been wiring everything up. Now, I said in another video, I think, that we aren't really interested in doing a how-to video on the electrical because we don't really know what we're doing. We are getting our work checked by professionals as we go, and of course before we hook anything up. That's super important. I am not interested in burning this place to the ground, so that's what we're doing. Setting the light fixtures is relatively simple. I'll show you what I've done so far and then what I'm working on today. So this nightmare zone is what will become the kitchen. And you can see that we have set can lights around the perimeter. And then in the middle, we have these regular light fixtures. That's because we're gonna have kind of a pendant style light over the sink. And then we're gonna have another drop down style light over the island. That's where the kitchen island's gonna go. And then backing up, these remaining two fixtures will also be pendant style lights over where the dining room table will go. So picture it, if you will. Now, William has also been working on setting the light fixtures in the flatter ceiling areas. You can see that he's set the cans that'll go in our entryway. And he's also set the fan boxes in the bedrooms. And he set the can light in our kind of hallway for our laundry alcove type of a situation. So this is really going to be more of a utility portion of the house, even though it's open to the living area. This is going to be our living area. Our washer and dryer will be tucked back in here, and then you can see our electrical panel. It's going to be right there. As I mentioned, not doing a tutorial on electrical. Now going back over to the middle room, let me try and get a vantage point where you can see a little bit better. This part of the house actually has a vaulted ceiling. And because it has a vaulted ceiling, the math is working out a little bit differently than it did when, for instance, I measured where the kitchen lights were gonna go. Because I can't get up into the rafters like I did over here and just measure across with my tape measure, make a nice little pencil mark, and, you know, carry on. Can't really do that over here because the angle will cause my measurements to be off. What I'm doing is mapping them on the floor, and then we will set the laser level on vertical, essentially, and it will spit out a handy little red light up there, and that will tell us exactly where the center of our can fixture will go. So that's what I'm doing. Now, I want to make sure that things are relatively in line. So because of that, I am taking my plumb bob, and yes, I know it's an inexact tool, but it's close enough. Let me show you what it looks like. I'm taking my plumb bob, and I'm going up on the ladder and I'm holding it at the light fixture, and then I'm letting the weight dangle, and then I'm letting it come to rest very carefully, letting it go down on the ground, and then I'm adjusting with my tape measure wherever I need to, because I'm not holding this dead center. I'm actually holding it on the edge, and then I know the diameter of these fixtures. So for instance, that's a 4-inch fixture, so I let my weight come to rest. Then I measured 2 inches over to find center. So the center of these masking tape X's is where the center of the fixture is. Then I can take my tape measure and I can measure across on the floor, which is what I did here, and figure out exactly where the center of this fixture will be when we use the laser level to figure out where it's going in the rafters. And same over here, and so on. Now in this case, I also measured off of that one just to be able to get a equidistant measurement between all of these lights. I did the math previously. Let me show you my map here. So what I did was I essentially drew out the floor plan of our house again, and all of the X's with colors around them represent lights. So because I did this on graph paper, probably be helpful if this was right side up, you can see where things are going. So for example, up here, I already knew that this should be about 5 feet 6 inches. And lo and behold, that is what it worked out to be. I love it when a plan comes together. So that's what I'm doing. Our can lights are 6-inch cans, which means really you can set them slightly further apart than you would a smaller diameter can light, and they will light the same or more area. From what I understand, the basic formula for spacing is that if you have, for example, 9-foot ceilings, which we do, your lights should be half that distance apart. So our lights should be 4.5 feet apart. Our lights are not that close together. But again, we have larger diameter lights, and then these center ones are going to be dropped down significantly, so they'll light closer to the light itself. If that does not turn out to be sufficient, we have plenty of outlets going in, and we can augment that with floor lamps. So that is the plan, and I'm going to finish doing my thing here. I'll tell you something that's really handy about this floor is that it has these lines on it that kind of mimic wood planking. And I am using those as cheaters to make sure that my distance measurements are square. So I know that the distance between these X's is 5'6". So I'm going to come down here and measure 5'6" out. And because of those lines, that should be square with that X. I will, of course, double check, but that's what I'm going to go with to start with. And it should be a nice little shortcut. Okay, so I marked my 5'6". 5'6" times 2 is 11 feet, so I'm just going to continue on and mark at 11 feet. This row of X's is in line with these boxes. Come over here. These are all 5'6" apart. I was able to follow my handy dandy line in the flooring, which I double checked, and yes, it is in fact a useful tool to keep things square. And now we make sure that all of these are in line. And the way that I did that was first by squaring up this portion of the grid. And then I knew that all of my rows were square. So I simply extended that line, extended it down to this X, pulled the measurement off that wall, extended it down to this X, and double checked the measurement off of that wall. They were the same, which meant that adding that X would put all of these in the correct line. And then I did the same thing for this row. And I'm very happy to report that William mounted this box that I told you a little bit about earlier the other day, and it will also be in line with these X's. So 3 cheers for that. Now, I do want to point out that I am worried about the spacing and how the light is going to evenly be distributed once the lights are on. What that means is that I cannot simultaneously worry about symmetrical placement of the lights in terms of the vault of the ceiling. So this row of X's in particular is going to be somewhat close to the center line. That is just fine with me. I'm going to get trim kits that we can tilt so that all the trim kits with the LED lights will be pointed straight down, and it shouldn't matter at all. So that is the plan. And now these light boxes are ready to mount. I have to get 3 more, so I'm off to do that at some point in the next couple of days, and then we should be able to finish mounting all of our lights. So here is the laser in action. It's right over one of the X's. And there it is, up between the trusses. So William will get up on the ladder and put the box in, and we'll put the red dot in the middle of the can. So at this point, we've got the laser level on, and William's mounting a box, making sure it's as square as possible. Makes it nice. I learned that lesson the hard way in the kitchen. You can kind of see the laser level dot right on the, there we go. How perfect is that? He's just straightening out one of the preset nails to make it easier to hammer in. Being somewhat ambidextrous is helpful. Gotta do the set screw. Make sure that's dead center in there, which it is now.
And the set screw is actually right here. It's meant to go in one of the preset holes, but the preset holes aren't going to work for where we want the lights. So I'm going to take a drill bit and just drill a hole. And now I'll take our set screw out of here. And I'm going to put it in the hole I just drilled. And now it doesn't move.
Yay! Thanks a lot for following along with us. We really value your support. Likes, comments, shares, you name it. Have a good one. Stay safe, and we'll see you next time.